Hey guys, Ryan from RD Arts, and if you're a home studio user like me, you've probably heard the term gain staging. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do it, and we'll discuss a little bit about it as well. Hey guys, so what is gain staging, right? So gain staging comes from the analog world where you had multiple pieces of recording equipment in a signal path. And like a singer would have multiple compressors and an EQ, kind of like a guitar player has multiple pedals. Each one of those pieces of equipment would have a input and an output, and they have to be adjusted just so they don't introduce any sort of clipping or noise or even deaden the signal at that. Now, in the modern day, there is an argument that because we're not using so much analog gear, that gain staging is kind of out the window. And I think the reason why home studio users are still emphasizing over this is because of the term sweet spot. And I think the term sweet spot makes everyone think that when they hit this sweet spot, that the sound is going to sound different, that their mix is going to come out different. And if you're here for that, you're in the wrong place. Gain staging is not going to change your mix. It's not going to change how your mix sounds. Now, it may give you a lot of headroom, and it may even give you it may give you a starting point on where to go with your mix, but it is definitely not going to change the sound of your mix. There's no modulation that is going to happen at this sweet spot digitally that is going to make your song sound any more better. So, how do you gain stage to begin with? So let's go ahead and jump on into the studio and we'll find out. Alright guys, so we're in the studio and I've pulled up a song here called So High, So Low. It's from the Balkan Brothers. It's a free multi-track. I'll put the link down in the description for you. And let's go ahead and go over a couple of terms that we're going to use real quick, and one of them being dBFS, and that stands for decibels in full scale, and that's what we have down here at the bottom of our screen. And we're also going to be talking about dBVU, and that is decibels volume units, and that is the analog scale. So how do we go about gain staging? First thing you're going to need is a VU meter. So whether one comes stock in your DAW or you're going to have to scrounge on the internet for one, I found one on TB Pro Audio, and it was a free plugin, so that was awesome. I'll put the link down in the description for you. And what you're going to do is you're going to find the loudest part of your song, the big extravaganza piece, and I've already found it, and you're going to loop that section out. So I've already done that to this song here. You're going to loop that area so you can kind of get the idea. And what we're going to do, I'm going to start with guitars, so we're going to open up our VU meter, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to get that needle to kind of average out right around this area. Okay, right around 1, 0, plus 1. That's what we want to average out. It doesn't have to sit there, but to just averagely hang out there, it would be nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up our gain knob, not our fader. We're not going to be using our fader. We're using our gain knob. Remember, our gain knob comes before our fader. Your gain knob actually comes before all your effects, so it's the cleanest piece of your signal. And what we're going to do is we're just going to adjust the gain up or down and get it to where it just kind of sits in that sweet spot. So we'll go ahead and play the track here real quick. I would say that would be right about it. That's how you would gain stage the guitars, right? So as long as they're sitting around this area. Now, at the beginning of this guitar was mic'd singly and with no, it wasn't done digitally, so all the effects are done through a pedal board. So that's why you saw it clip here, and I'll show you. So as you see, that VU is not a perfect science, okay? Doing this is not a perfect science. Now that's all fine and good when it works, but here's the example I wanted to show everybody is what happens in the drum kits. And this is where the argument comes in for me, is in the drum kits. Now, if I have a pretty dynamic piece, like a kick drum or a snare, let's say this kick drum is the offender right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to play the track, and I'm going to adjust to get it to the 0 dB mark, or 0 dB VU, I would say. And I want you to notice that it's going to start going red on the dBFS meter. Let me go ahead and open up my gain knob. We'll just play. As you see, if you watch down here, it's clipping. It's clipping. Now, it's not going to clip your outboard. That's not how this works. But if you're clipping on a per track basis, it may still sound bad. Now, I don't understand the point of this. If we're not going to do all the drums, if we're not going to do the whole thing, what's the point of gain staging? Now, the argument here is that since we're not using analog gear, we don't have to treat it like analog gear. And plugin makers are not going to make plugins that sound bad until you find this hidden sweet set of numbers that is going to make your whole mix just sound beautiful. That's not how this works. So I guess the big question is do you or do you not gain stage? Well, unfortunately, there is no right way to mix a song. There is a lot of useless information and wasted movement, but unfortunately, there's no completely right answer to mix a song. Part of my theory is that this gain staging thing carried over because we don't have numbers to start with, and I think that gives us a starting point. For me, what I like to do is I like to just go through each track and just set them all to be peaking at 12. Not perfect, but just sitting around 12 dB. And then I start bussing everything together, blending the guitars, then I start blending the drums, and then I just work the volumes up and down until I get the song blended properly. It's not about how loud it is in the mix. It's about how blended it is in the mix, how well you can blend the mix. And we're talking about just panning and volume, no plugins. That's a static mix. Just doing a static mix is going to get you so much further than all this gain staging stuff, at least in my opinion. Well, hey, I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have been awesome, and let's make a sound.